10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is September 7th, and I'm sorry for missing episodes recently. Things have just been a bit busier than I expected them to be, but I'm back now, and you're getting an episode today, so woohoo! Anyway, we're going to start with this really exciting news that came out of NodeSet. Now, for those of you who don't know, NodeSet are kind of positioning themselves as a layer 2 on top of Rocket Pool, and they are creating a service/protocol where people will be able to deposit their ETH, other people will be able to deposit their RPL, then NodeSet will put that ETH and RPL together, bundle it into a validator, and send it to existing Rocket Pool node operators. Then those Rocket Pool node operators will stake that on behalf of the people who deposit their ETH and RPL, and everybody gets rewards. So it's really exciting, and Wonder here is sharing the announcement. So they've got some information. He says, "Hello everyone, we have an exciting announcement to share today. NodeSet, the first version of our new website is up and running, and with it, NodeSet operator sign-up form is now available. It's a very early version, and we have big plans for it to become more robust over time. Eventually, it will be integrated into our website and other systems more directly, so that it's easy as possible for new node operators to join. For now, I'd like to entice you a bit more to sign up. We have several opportunities in the works, which will be available exclusively to NodeSet operators. And I'm not just referring to Constellation here. We're working hard behind the scenes to increase the earning potential of running an Ethereum node. More importantly, by joining NodeSet, you directly contribute to our core goals of promoting operator diversity, reducing asset concentration within and across protocols, and helping to scale projects that directly contribute to Ethereum's credible neutrality." And then there's a picture of Uncle Sam saying, "I want you to join NodeSet." Let's have a look at their website that Wanda mentioned in the message. So here we have NodeSet. It says, incentivizing decentralization. NodeSet connects node operators to opportunities across the web of value. And then it says, "I need decentralization," or "I'm a node operator." And then they have their product, Constellation, the world's most unique liquid staking solution for Ethereum built on Rocket Pool. And then there's an announcement that you can read about Constellation. So here, if you say, "I need decentralization," it's an email that comes up. So this is what Wanda meant about working with integrating the stuff into their website. And if you click on "I'm a node operator," then you get this NodeSet sign up, which says, "NodeSet operator sign up. Thank you for your interest in joining NodeSet's group of distributed node operators. Please answer the questions below to the best of your ability." And then it says, "Completing this form doesn't guarantee you inclusion, blah, blah, blah," all that stuff. So let's have a look at some of the questions. It asks you what your email address is. It asks you what your Discord handle is, your Telegram handle, your phone number. And then it asks you to sign a transaction saying that this is your node and Rocket Pool node and etc. And then it has information about how many validators you have, where you live, where you reside, what clients you use, where you use your hardware, if you have some recovery set up, do you have a simple setup or a complex setup? What do you do professionally? What your areas of expertise are? And then, are you comfortable going through with like Sybil checks, etc.? And then any other questions, etc. So then you can submit that form, and once you submit that form, then you will be hearing from, I presume, Nick or Wanda at some point in the coming weeks or months, who will then talk to you a bit more about what NodeSet can help you with. So people are already starting to ask questions about how it would work. So here we have Agrimony, who says, "Trying to work through the steps here. 8 ETH is deposited into Supernode. XR ETH received as collateral. The 8 ETH is sent to NodeSet node operators to spin up as a mini pool, matched with 24 ETH from Rocket Pool, and 2.4 ETH of RPL comes from NodeSet. And then we have XR ETH receives 100% staking rewards of 8 ETH. NodeUp receives 24 ETH times 14% commission. and XRPL receives RPL rewards. And then Agrimoney says theoretically node operators could run with no collateral, but in reality they would need to deposit 8 ETH and receive XRETH. I think I assume all consensus layer rewards are now shared among the supernode node operators. It's like a smoothing pool for sync committees as well. And then Wanda says that is correct. And Agrimoney says, has the admin feed be decided already? Wanda says we have a pretty good idea internally of what we want it to be, but we haven't discussed it publicly yet. The article is a bit out of date and the design has generally improved since then, so we'll be releasing more thorough paper on the whole system in the next few months. Either way, we do know that the system is calibrated so that XRETH holders receive the full beacon chain rewards plus smoothing pool rewards. And then Agrimoney says, great, more clarity on the flow would be appreciated. Not super clear on how RP ETH and NodeSet ETH is combined on the node. Wanda says the exact technical details of that up to how Rocket Pool implements the ETH stake on behalf function, which is a work in progress, but still planned for Houston. Last I heard from Kane, he plans to make that function give credit to a node using the same mechanism that LEB8 uses. On our end, we have everything designed and most of the Solidity code written, so this piece from Rocket Pool is the final bit we're waiting on. If the credit design is what they go with, the whole flow at a high level is this. The node operator makes a node and sets a withdrawal address to one of the Constellation contracts. Realistically, our software does this for node operators automatically. As ETH is deposited into the XRETH pool, node operators become eligible to create more Constellation mini pools. Node operator makes a new mini pool plus validator, then sends the admin a pre-signed exit message for insurance until the execution layer induced exits are available. Again, all done automatically with our software. The node operator, automatically sensing a theme here, submits a transaction requesting the ETH to be staked on behalf of the node and then staked in the new mini pool using that credit. Earnings go on the smoothing pool and mini pool contract, which flow back into the Constellation contracts, so everything remains non-custodial. Either the node operator or the admin may exit the validator at any time in case there is need for liquidity for XRETH holders. Once execution layer induced exits are available, this can be further automated and secured by on-chain code. So then there's some questions and comments back and forth. Agrimoney says excited to try it out, but I'm a bit hesitant to exit my current Rocket Pool node. And Wanda says no need, you should just keep validating. And then he says, are you going to run NodeSet alongside Rocket Pool nodes? And then Wanda says, unless you want to swap for XRETH, I suppose. Wanda then says, we require that Constellation node operators be experienced Rocket Pool node operators. And then Agrimoney says, is there any advantage to swap for XRETH? Current validators already earn 100% rewards on their portion of staked ETH, so it's no difference, right? And then Wanda says the user experience for existing Rocket Pool node operators who wants to participate in Constellation is sign up for NodeSet, be whitelisted, download and install our software, hyperdrive onto your node, start earning more by doing the same thing that you're already doing. And then Wanda explains that XRETH is liquid, so it's a pretty big advantage. However, XRETH will not earn more than staking on your own assets in Rocket Pool would earn, but being a Rocket Pool node operator means you're eligible to participate in NodeSet, and we can funnel you assets non-custodially to make a new mini pool. And then there were some more questions as well that you can kind of go and follow those questions. And you know the information is in the thread below, but there's some really interesting ideas that are kind of being bounced around, and you can definitely go and check that out. Yeah, it's really exciting. Okay, and then there were also some questions about the performance of the node and like the current node that you're running and knowledge in general. And then Duki here says that, you know, they'll check the performance of the node and of the machine that I'm currently running. They'll also check my knowledge of Linux and Ethereum in general, and since I'm not an expert, I think I'll be deprioritized. And then one of the things that happened that was interesting was here, Wanda says, we are not prioritized based on this, don't worry. These questions are just for internal understanding for our users. We want to accept as many people as possible, which is really great. And then Sneaky here tagged Maverick saying, I think it's appropriate to coordinate a NodeSet AMA in the near future. Onboarding has certainly garnered a lot of interest, but also a lot of questions floating around. Instead of speculating on it, it would be great to hear it directly from the horse's mouth. So here, Wanda says, absolutely. Nick has gone on his honeymoon. That's not Nick Ashley, but Nick S, who's part of NodeSet. We'll be coordinating more public stuff when he returns. In the meantime, feel free to ping me or tell someone else to ping me if anyone has questions. So yeah, this is like really great. Like, so even here, like they were talking about Lido, and someone asked, will Wo asked, will NodeSet onboard any Lido operators? And Wanda said no. And Jasper even replied by saying Yorick. And Yorick is a very active member of the Rocket Pool community, who's a Lido node operator. He's also a rocket scientist. He's also on the ODAO, like, very, very, very well respected member of the Rocket Pool community. Wanda said that Yorick will not be considered for Constellation. He goes on to say, I love Yorick, but he has enough validators at the moment. We may do partnerships with big validators like him in the future if certain opportunities demand it. However, there are certain arrangements which require specifically advanced backups, geolocation, KYC, but that's not our focus with Constellation. And Jasper said, love to hear that. And Wanda said, to be honest, I would love to make an exception for Yorick specifically, but we have to be serious about our core values. Our number one goal is to reduce asset concentration across the ecosystem. So this is something I really loved hearing. Like Wanda, of course, Nick, they're really well aligned members of the Rocket Pool community. They're really really well aligned, and they're really engaged members of the Rocket Pool community as well. And NodeSet is a project that has grown out of Rocket Pool, so I think they're doing really great stuff. I'm really happy to talk about NodeSet and like hype them up. I'm not getting paid for this. I'm not invested in NodeSet or anything like that. So anything that I'm saying is just because of the fact that they're doing such great work aligned with the Rocket Pool, and that gets me really excited. so it's really great. Wanda said, to be clear, if Lido concentration drops, we have nothing against onboarding these folks. So of course, if it goes down lower, then that could happen. Okay, so that was a lot of talk about NodeSet, and of course I love NodeSet, but now we've got something really, really exciting to talk about, which is this tweet by Eric Balchunas, sorry if I butchered that pronunciation, saying, boom, ARK just filed for a spot Ether ETF, the first one, probably more coming imminently. And then there's a screenshot of a document that was submitted to the SEC, Form S1, which is ARK 21 shares, Ethereum ETF, and they are applying for a spot ETH ETF, kind of like the ones that have been going around for BitBoy. I'm sorry, kind of like the ones that have been going around Bitcoin, and all the stuff that's happening with that, with the approvals or not. And now we've got a ETH spot ETF application, which is truly exciting, and I'm really happy to see this. Now, the futures ETF for ETH should be coming online in October, which is potentially I think a month and a week away, where that should be activated. So it looks like Bitcoin ETF is kind of trailblazing here. They got the futures ETF first, and now it looks like they'll be getting the spot ETF maybe as soon as October, but maybe as late as January or March, depending on how things go. And then because the same kind of principles apply between the Bitcoin ETF and the ETH ETF, I think that it'll only be a short matter of time before a spot ETF for Ether is also approved, which is truly exciting. The next step after that, maybe a year or maybe a couple of years later, what we'll see is an ETH Staking ETF. That's going to be really interesting to see how that works out. But yeah, this is a huge step on like the wider Ethereum ecosystem, and it's something I'm really excited about. And then here we see, as we got the first one, James here put a tweet out saying the spot Ethereum ETF race is officially on. It's early, but it estimates that final deadline in these applications to be around May 23rd, 2024. Notably, we didn't see VanEck spot Ethereum ETF S1 from VanEck earlier because they filed for this thing all the way back in 2021. So if you have a look at the image that they're sharing, here we have two now that are waiting approval as far as I'm reading this. No, that's old. Yeah, so it looks like there's 2 of them now that have applied, and it looks like any minute now we'll be getting more as well. Because kind of like what happened with the Bitcoin spot ETF application. Oh yeah, here we are. So it says boom, Form 19 B4 fillings from Vanek and ARK Invest for spot Ethereum ETFs. So we got it from ARK Invest first, and then it looks like Vanek was ready to submit theirs as soon as someone else had done it first. So now we have 2 ETH ETF spot ETF applications that are waiting. Vanek was second, and I'm sure that we'll be getting others like Fidelity, BlackRock, etc. joining in really quickly if they think that this is something that can happen. But yeah, having the final deadline of these applications be around May 23rd, 2024. I think that's going to be really interesting to see how that works out based on most likely having a Bitcoin spot ETF approval at around that point as well. So yeah, what would be really funny is if the ETH spot ETF gets approved before the Bitcoin one. That would be kind of hilarious, but I don't think it's likely. Here, James then had another tweet saying, how long before we see a 19B4 form from Grayscale to convert ETH into an ETF? And those of you who know that, they just won their case against the SEC about their Bitcoin product GPTC. So it makes sense for them to then try to convert their ETH. This ETH has been, as of like December 2022, was at a 60% discount against like the market price. Since then, the price has gone up quite a lot, and now it's at a 30% discount. So it's outperformed the main Ethereum price since that low significantly. As soon as they put in the application to convert ETH into an ETF, I think that discount is going to close even more. It's currently around 30% discount. So if you are holding ETH, you've been having a really good time of it recently, and there's a chance that will keep continuing. Okay, so that was really, really huge news, which is why I spent so much time talking about it. But we got some other news here today where Langer's put a post in Protocol saying, hey everyone, a governance discussion dispute has been raised on the DAO forum. The discussion dispute relates to the PDAO voting weight, so it's extremely important to Rocket Pool's governance process. I urge everyone to read the thread and have your say on the topic. And then there is a link to the thread. So let's go and have a look at that and see what is going on. So I covered this on Rocket Fuel a few days ago, and we talked about Patches' post here saying that, the surefire way to remedy this without setting a precedent is to vote twice, once with a strategy for 0 to 150 and once for a strategy for 10 to 150, and link the outcomes. Making a decision based on discourse poll sets the precedence, as does voting with one strategy but not the other. Personally, I feel like this route is overkill, but if there's contention about the path forward, I think it's a good option of last resort. So this is where we left the discussion a few days ago when I talked about Rocket Fuel. Since then, there have been some more questions about how it's been going on, and people kind of talking about it. But the really interesting thing is here that Langer's popped into the forum and was talking about what the original intention was about voting based on effective stake, which is from 10% to 150%, and how that this was clear to the community, and how it kind of was signaled to the community. There was discussions like about the RPIT 4 record to the core that made a statement contradiction, and the Blankers then said that we never changed the concept, we just corrected the contradiction. And then there was a bit of back and forth with Val about Val saying Val said that about what it says, not the intent. We can't have the internal state of some people's minds overrule spec as written. In my opinion, when a spec says X as reported by Y, it is unambiguously defining X to be the output of Y. And then Langas here says, I strongly disagree. This spec is leaky abstraction for intent, but it's the intent that matters. That said, we both agree that it should not refer to implementation. And then he says it's pretty obvious that we're having this conversation because of the market condition. Whether less than 10% of stake should vote is up to the PDAO, but the term effectively staked has been clear throughout. If we want to change it, the PDAO as it is today should vote to either change the term effective stake, which has some repercussions, or define it in some other way. I know that Valdorf has some thoughts on how. Then Valdorf said, this doesn't make sense. Is your claim that there was a bug known to the dev team, and that kind of discussion. So Langers and Valdorf here kind of had a little bit of a back and forth. It's going to be too long for me to read all of it, but I'm definitely encouraging you to go and read all of it. For the sake of the show, like it's just I don't have the time to read all of every post, but there was a long discussion back and forth between Valdorf and Langers. Then Wonder replied here as well, saying apologies for the delay in responding. The original Wonder was one of the authors of rPit4, and he says the original intent was for effective stake, i.e. 10% to 150% to be counted, and I consider it a bug in the original function that this wasn't how it was originally reported. And then that as well, and then Epitaph said we have reason. People who think contradictory positions are indisputably correct, so definitely time to look prospectively to a vote. I'm for one interested in hearing arguments that the protocol is made stronger by forbidding voting by certain node operators when RPL ratio decreases. So then Dave came into the forum, and it's been a while since he's posted in here, and just trying to give context about what the minimum 10% came from, the maximum 150%, and how this kind of changed between different upgrades and how it was fixed. And then and Nosho says, are you saying this was an issue introduced with Redstone? Valdorf said, despite the warning that, what you're saying is opinions, not facts. This is not my reading of the R paper as best as I can read it. For what it's worth, there are exactly 3 uses of effective or effectively. So then it was getting like really down into the details of what effective stake does and doesn't mean. And then Omeku had some comments and observations, and Noshua says that at the time when rPit4 was passed, below 10% was allowed for voting purposes, so I believe this should have been raised with the PDAO before making changes, and Never an Island says it's the same thing with the rewards of eligibility, I guess, about talking about that. Rocket Docs just says, my understanding as a node operator that effective stake of 10 to 150% has always been the boundaries for rewards and governance, and I would classify myself as a typical low-level node operator. Patches' comment here was the one that I really liked at the end, saying this thread is getting a bit off topic. We're not debating whether people under 10% should be able to vote. We're trying to establish what rPit4 says about the matter. It's pretty obvious to me that we're not going to come to a consensus here, and we will have to cure rPit4 in a PDAO vote. My suggestion above would let us do that without one deciding the question of rPit4, and I believe it is now the best course of action, as sentiment and the interpretation of rPit4 is clearly divided. So this discussion is still ongoing. It looks like it will go to a vote, however that has not been done yet, so definitely I'll keep you up to date with all of this. It's really interesting that Dave and Langers both got involved in this discussion. I think it's interesting that they're doing that, and I'll definitely keep you all in the loop. But please go and read this whole discussion, and add your comments if you wish to do that. Okay, next we had this piece of news about Marko exiting some of his validators in this marriage of his with someone that we don't know, and it looks like a whole bunch of mini pools were being exited, and people are just like, hey, what's going on over here? But if you look at trading, then Noshua had this point that let me see. Noshua says, don't look like all the mini pools are exited, so it might just be moving some value to a second node before going for LEB8s. So that is it's really interesting because when we have these huge nodes with like hundreds of validators on there, people get really panicky when there's any kind of activity going on with those. And Marko, of course, is the biggest node operator on Rocket Pool across his various marriages, and it's one of those situations where people are kind of wondering what's going on, what's happening, but it looks like, and I think Noshua is right here, is that he kind of likes dividing out his nodes, so no node has more than 300 validators, and I guess, if a node is already at 300 validators, and if he's reducing the bond, then that would go to 600 validators, and I guess that is a bit more than what he wants on his machines, so it kind of makes sense for him to exit and then re-enter those positions with that in mind. Okay, next I want to talk to you about this community call that happened, and one of the people who was involved, the guest of that community call was Hasu. For those of you who don't know, Hasu is an expert on DAO systems. He is also involved in the flashbots and MEV space as a researcher and as kind of like not, I don't want to say developer, but I guess like kind of like a thought leader. And then also one of the reasons why some of you might know is that Hasu is also involved in Lido and kind of like Lido system operation and talking about how Lido is not as much of a problem as other people think it might be. So anyway, on this call, Jasper was kind enough to provide notes, and Jasper was kind of like talking to Hasu on this call. So he said, the framework for MEV, this is the kind of stuff they covered on this chat. If you want to go listen to it, it says they covered the framework for MEV, primarily power and latency. They talked a brief history of flashbots, starting all the way back to CryptoKitties and to PGAS and Meg Geth to MEV boost. They talked about the difficulties of cross-chain MEV and the idea of intents. Also discussed the concern about the complexification of Ethereum. Then they talked about Suave and what it is and why build a new layer 1 for this. How does Suave fit into the PBS storyline and where does the MEV value flow? Suave is designed to be neutral value for value MEV order fulfillment. Then there's like an in-band versus out-of-band block building. Is this futile? Introducing, then they talked about Pepsi, which is PEPC, and can we see intents incorporated directly to Ethereum, and if so, is that competing with Suave? And then they talked about intents on expanding the protocol consensus and associated dangers, and Jasper finished with saying that this is like a talk that's strongly encouraged for you to listen to this because they covered some really, really great stuff. So if you are interested in giving that a listen, definitely check it out because I think there's some really, really good stuff in there. So next we have some changes that are happening with the rETH premium that you might have noticed, and there was a whole bunch of rETH that was sold yesterday. So it was burned through the deposit pool. So here's the 350, then 1,500, another 250, another 100, and then people started depositing back in there. But it seemed like there was a bunch of rETH that was sold. If you go to check the bot, at one point yesterday, the premium, there was actually a discount, and that still persists right now. So if you have a look over here, it says there's a 0.056% discount. The deposit pool is full again, but as the day went on yesterday, we got this story came out from Zach XBT saying that it appears a whale was fished for $24.2 million worth of STETH and rETH, and then there's a link to some transactions and a wallet. So yeah, this was not good. It was really bad. And we got some more information here as well from Jason B, who says, "Hey Rocket Pool fam, it's been a while. I had a chance to review the victim who lost $24 million, and I labeled the wallet rETH victim. Below the wallet amounts, wallets and the amounts the victims' funds in each, and there was 24 million ETH in one. That was Hacker 1, Hacker 2, 16.2 million, Hacker 3, 4.1 million, and Hacker 4, 3.27 million. So there's a whole lot of crypto that was stolen. And it says above here is the inside this wallet of Hacker 3 that got a whole lot out. And it says the good news is I only see about 451,000 of the victims' funds were sent through 7 fixed flow deposit addresses. I'm hopeful that due to the amount of media attention and heat, the tracker will inevitably return the funds. And there's a wallet address saying the rETH Hacker 1 is interesting as it appears to be a legacy wallet. The other 3 were created specifically as intermediary wallets to move the victims' funds. And then there's some information there about what deposit addresses the hackers used over time. So there's 2 different Binance addresses. There's a KuCoin address, another KuCoin address, and a Change Now address. So it says numerous fixed float wallets. And then it goes on to say, of these deposit addresses, KuCoin is the most interesting to me. There's numerous small deposits from people seemingly unconnected to each other. So then they kind of like pull together this image of where the wallets are and where they're going and where things have been coming from. And it said this person could be engaging in a cybercrime as a service activity, or could be membership fees to some services. Looking at this deposit address, I'm showing lots of Russian Ukrainian activity. For example, wallets associated with these Twitter accounts, and then there's 5 Twitter accounts here that seem to have wallets linked with them. This is based on what I'm seeing across the board. This appears to be Russian related hack. I could be wrong, but I did a few leads worth further investigation. I'm sure law enforcement is all over this and will know more info once the deposit addresses are subpoenaed. So one of the things to pay attention to is, first of all, this person got hacked for a whole lot of ST-ETH and rETH. I think it was 5,000 ETH and 10,000 rETH, something like those kind of numbers. I think it's like astonishing, that like people would sign a transaction with a wallet with that much money in it. You really should never ever do that. But this has happened. So I think this might have been, I'm not exactly sure, but I think this person might have been one that was swapping their rETH into ETH, and that was causing the deposit pool to get some space, so the premium kind of went away. But the deposit pool is now full again. So let's actually just have a quick look if it is. It was when I checked a few minutes ago. Here we have the deposit pool. Yeah, so there's 17,796, so it's 99% full. So there's just over 230 ETH worth of space in there right now. So I'm sure that once that's full, then the premium will start coming back. But yeah, that's one of those situations where I kind of really feel bad for that person. Like losing 25 million in crypto is no fun at all. And I hope that person is okay. Like I don't know how I'd react if that happened to me, but yeah, that is not nice. Okay, moving on, we have this new product from DefiSaver called ETHSaver. This is a new home for all your leverage staking needs. ETHStaker is a fully non-custodial app focused solely on leverage staking and is built on top of DefiSaver. It's powered by Lido, Rocket Pool, Coinbase Assets, Morpho Labs, Aave, and Compound Finance. And this is the way it works. It helps you keep your ETH in your control. It's fully non-custodial. It's your positions that you open using DefiSaver with other protocols, and then it lets you create one transaction positions and closings and all sorts. It integrates with Morpho Labs, Aave, and Compound, and it lets you work with Lido's wrapped ST-ETH, Rocket Pool's rETH, and Coinbase's CB-ETH. And then it says ETHSaver introduced a novel fee model into the DFS ecosystem. A performance fee of 10% is applied on exiting the position. A fee is applied if you're exiting the position with a higher than starting balance. So if you make a loss, then they won't charge you a fee. Existing leverage staking positions can be migrated to ETHSaver. It says if it wasn't clear from the first tweet, ETHSaver is live and you can check it out today. So let's go and have a look at their website. So here it says leveraged ETH staking powered by DefiSaver. You can connect your wallet and it has all these different positions. You can the vanilla staking rewards from Lido are 3.6%, Coinbase 3.1%, and Rocket Pool rETH is 3.5%. And then you have all these different platforms where you can create positions. So on Morpho Aave version 3, you can use wrapped ST-ETH to get up to 7.5%. 7.45%. On Morpho, you can with rETH you can get 7.43%. With on Aave using ETH you can get 6.5 and 6.5 for rETH. And then on Compound you have WST-ETH, and then Morpho they've got some positions for CB-ETH as well, but their rewards are a little bit less. But yeah, you can make these positions. They use max leverage is 10 times, so that might not be for everyone's liking. Of course, the more leverage you take, the more likely you are to get blown up, and the staking rewards are not that much higher compared to the base rate. So it depends on where you want to accept that risk for kind of like double the AP APY rewards or APR rewards. I never remember the difference between those two. But yeah, you can play around with it, but please be careful, because this is one of those situations where you could definitely lose everything you put in. And yeah, be aware of all the issues that you might face with that. Okay, next we have this news coming out of the Geth team saying Geth path-based storage model and newly inline state prune. So there's a new version of Geth that is either out or is coming out, and it's going to have this path-based, the PB storage model, which is a new version of creating your database for your Ethereum staking, and it will make it so you can prune your node while you are using it without having to do any downtime. So this has been on the cards for quite a while. I didn't think it was a new thing, which is, oh yeah, it's not a new thing, it's from February. I guess, I'm not sure, wait, hold on, maybe I made a mistake with submissions. Let me see what is being said here. I think it might be that it's moving to mainnet soon, so yeah. No, it's just Meg shared an old article with me. Thanks, Meg. That doesn't help. Yeah, so I guess maybe like they're moving to mainnet soon, so that's why it was brought to Meg's attention. But I will definitely let you know once that is out and that is ready. So sorry about that old news. I kind of missed that it was old. Okay, next we have this article from CoinDesk talking about Ethereum's risk-free rate of return. It says liquid staking is one of the few crypto markets that has grown in the bear market. Why is that? Daniel Kuhn wrote the article, and then it talks about Lido, it talks about Rocket Pool and how things have changed in the last year since the merge, and how the staking environment has shifted in that time. So definitely go and give this article a read if you are curious about what CoinDesk have to say about this, and it's an interesting article, so definitely check that out. Okay, next I want to give a quick shout out to Ethereum Staking Guide here, which is a Twitter channel that has become like a self-contained hub for a lot of the work that Kent Philly's been doing, and with Sunshine and the interviews and all their content that they're getting out. So here they have this heading saying research videos and guides, stake ETH with self-custody, run validators, everyone's invited, support globally and locally owned ultrasound money, that's ETH, with us, and then I think it was set up by Kent Philly, and they also have a Medium article, their website here, Ethereum Staking Guide, which you can check out, and that's their Notion site, and then they also have this Medium article that kind of tells you about what they're doing and how they're doing it, and it's basically promoting Rocket Pool as a staking service for people to come and stake with. So it says Rocket Pool is a product market fit as the leading decentralized Ethereum staking protocol today in 2023, with over $1 billion in ETH staked through the open source protocol. Goes on and just talks about Rocket Pool and all the different ways that you can have it set up, and there's Sunshine with some of her videos. So it's integrating a lot of that stuff, which is really cool. And yeah, go check out the stuff that they're working on if you are curious about that. And this is their website as well, so it's got a lot of their content on there, nice easy to navigate stuff, and you can click on these tiles to get all the information you need and navigate using the sections. I think they're going to be growing it out a lot more, so if you are at all interested in Ethereum staking guides, then check out their Twitter and all their related stuff from there. Okay, as an aside, here Britain posted this tweet saying, wouldn't it be cool to collect POAPs for visiting various places around the globe? Well, with POAP.global you can. Anyone can be part of this movement by choosing a location, creating a POAP on POAP.global, and receiving an NFC to place Let's POAP the World. So the way this works is, by signing up and kind of like taking ownership of a place or some places, you will get this RFID chip that has POAP keys stored on there, and then as people scan that with their phone, they will get a POAP to show that they have visited a physical location, and as like the top of this mountain where this photo was taken from. So that's really cool. So if you are interested in like taking ownership of a place, like if you live in a big city, or if you live near some kind of like monument or place that people visit a lot, then you can get one of these NFCs, and you can put it in a place where people can come and claim their POAPs. I really like this idea. Of course, I love POAP, and I love talking about POAP, and I already signed up to take ownership of a spot or two, and yeah, I really love it. So if you're interested in this, then check it out, and you can apply. You can fill out the form on POAP.global, and someone from the team will get in touch with you and get everything going. Okay, finally, we're going to talk about this post from Ryan Beckerman, who's talking about Lido, saying, in my opinion, the realistic worst case scenario for Lido's uncapped dominance isn't network disruption. It's that Ethereum develops a reputation among corporations and governments as having been captured, or not actually being that decentralized relative to other chains. If this were to happen, it may affect the order of magnitude of our growth rate, and therefore Ethereum's benefit to humanity and the number of zeros on the long-term ETH valuation. Ethereum is very low transactions per second chain, with by far the most secure block space. This reputation is vital to the future of layer 1s and layer 2 ecosystems. Our projected ETH valuation is predicated on a government being significantly better off, anchoring, e.g. its sovereign bond system on Ethereum's low data, high cost chain, then bridging it to any layer 2s or 3s, versus anchoring on a high TPS chain with significantly riskier and worse long-term property rights. Ethereum is on track to grow into the global settlement layer, but this success is path dependent on our reputation with corporations and governments. Given this path dependence, Lido uniquely threatens our reputation, and that this analogy in, e.g. a comparison with Google's search monopoly. Google does not threaten the internet by the way Lido threatens to potentially make Ethereum's outcomes order of magnitude smaller. Lido's uncapped dominance is currently the only known material risk of, in 10 to 15 years, Ethereum becoming worth, say, only $1.2 to $3 trillion instead of $12 to $30 trillion. That's why we shouldn't tolerate Lido's uncapped dominance. It's literally the only serious and durable risk standing between us and global ubiquity. Our mission of becoming a level playing field for all of humanity is worth the social friction of hassling Lido to target 22% market share via floating protocol fee. And then Evan explains a plausible bad scenario, says that the Lido delegates stake proportional to node operators with the best attestation performance and therefore best return on ETH staked. This encouraging Lido node operators to stick to validating with Geth as the execution client. Lido controls 33% of stake. This is imminent. Geth has a major bug. Chain is unable to finalize, starting massive inactivity leak, and then that would cause huge problems for anyone. So here, I like this Ryan Beckerman's post. It does threaten the credible neutrality of Ethereum, and that will definitely impact the long-term growth prospects of Lido. So instead of going to Lido and getting 0.25% APR higher than other services, you could be jeopardizing your potential future ETH valuation by an order of magnitude or more potentially. So anyway, I'm going to end today's episode on that point. Thank you all for listening, watching, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community. I'm not going to make any promises about episodes coming in the following days. I'm really sorry about that. I've been trying my best to get episodes out, but it's just been really difficult. But I'm hoping that I'll try to get a couple of more episodes out before I go home and go back to my actual usual cadence, which will begin on Tuesday next week. Anyway, thank you everyone, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.